Yeah.
It's all working. Woohoo!
I just want to double check one more time because your sheet says the 6:30 dinner serve time. Do you want us to wait until that time for sure for dinner, or do it with the salads?
Like we were talking about
Okay,
earlier.
so I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if we said wait until that time before.
Yeah, I just figured.
Hey, Caitlin,
So,
Caitlin.
Should I mute us?
No, Caitlin, can you just walk into the screen for a minute and let me just be sure I see you on the live stream? It'll take a second. Wave to everybody.
Wave to the people.
I'm not seeing-
I mean, you've come to the dinner, you've missed the cocktail hour, but that just means you have 2 drink tickets right here. Oh my God, that's a sentence I could hear.
We're ready.
Just a sec.
The Vista Hall. Apologies, I'm doing a tech run real quick. No, but you guys stay here. This is where you're supposed to be. You're at the US Bank table?
Yeah.
So I believe that's table, this one right here.
I wasn't sure if we said wait until that time before.
Hey, Caitlin,
Yes, ma'am, how can I help you?
Caitlin.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm listening to me talking to you.
okay.
So just a sec. No, Caitlin, can you just walk into the screen for a minute and let me just be sure I see you on the live stream? It'll take a second. Wave to everybody.
Wave to the people.
Yeah, okay, you're good. You're golden. Okay. Everything's
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you, ladies. Should I mute us until it's like go time?
I can mute you and unmute you, but
Oh,
yeah,
I would love that. Thank you.
yeah, you want me to mute it? Sure.
Mute us in case. So yeah, we're just talking, we're just like getting some things.
will you please unmute the Zoom meeting too? Hi, Caitlin. Will you unmute me, please? Caitlin?
Thank you all for being here. We're going to get started with this evening's program. We've got a full schedule ahead of us. I want to make sure we don't stay here too late tonight. Thank you all for being here. You guys take a moment to look at this room right now and how many people are in here together with smiling faces, saying hi to each other. It's awesome to see. Welcome. Thank you very much. Welcome to the 24th annual Big Sky Chamber Black Diamond Business Awards dinner and annual meeting. Yeah, go ahead. My name's Anna Johnson, and I'm the Director of Business Development with the Big Sky Chamber. So I've met many of you, and it's just really nice to see a lot of you not on Zoom anymore, right? We're thrilled to be here together and in person for this event tonight, and also that we have several people joining online. So we're happy to be able to still continue with a hybrid event. But we're happy to share some proud accomplishments from this last year and really celebrate our business community, as well as take the opportunity to share some goals we have at the Chamber and just really recognize the accomplishments and achievements that we all have had. So with the people joining online, do note that the microphone picks up background noise, so be conscious of that this evening in the noise level. So our theme tonight is looking at life after COVID. Not that we're completely 100% there yet, we're close, but it seems like this is as good of a time as any to stop, pause for a minute, reflect on all of the strength and growth that we've had over the last year. We at the Chamber will be giving away these 5 business awards for 5 categories tonight. But that doesn't mean that there's only 5 outstanding businesses this year and who've contributed greatly to our community. Actually, where's Tim Kent sitting? If Tim Kent had his way, we'd all be getting an award tonight. So truthfully though, we've all come a long way. We've come together, stepped up to stay strong, stay open, and stay safe this last year. So it's something to really be proud of. We had to be creative and resilient in our leadership and do things that none of us thought were possible. yet here we are today in this space together a year later. We've invited Chantel Schiefer, who's here with us from Helena, and she will be speaking to us tonight on harnessing our skills that we've gathered in the last year and really how to keep the momentum going into the next year. Chantel is President CEO of Leadership Montana, and she has a place here in Big Sky, is very familiar with our community, so we're excited to hear from her. And we hope that going forward, we don't have the threat of a pandemic or any other thing quite as major as this last year threw at us. So thanks again. We hope you enjoy the evening. I am going to talk a little bit now on a few other points about the chamber before we get to the awards. First, I'd like to thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsors tonight are Big Sky Resort and Big Sky Sotheby's International Realty, as well as our networking reception sponsor, Suffolk Construction, and our beverage sponsors, Ace Hardware and Bozeman Spirits Distillery. Hope you all had a good time over at the Vista Hall. Enjoyed the drinks and the view. Additionally, thank you to all of our table sponsors here tonight and our everyone in attendance. I'd like to recognize our member businesses as a whole, who with their continued support really allow us to do the work that we do throughout the year. Our mission at the Big Sky Chamber is that we are the voice of business in Big Sky, and we champion a healthy economy. We work collaboratively to convene community stakeholders and really to work as a catalyst to improve the overall quality of life and of doing business in the across the region, not only in Big Sky. So we can't do that without the investment of our member businesses and our sponsors and your continued support. So thank you very, very much. A huge thank you to our volunteer board of directors, all of whom are here tonight supporting us. They've consistently shown commitment and dedication to our efforts and initiatives. These are some shots that we liked, showing our board and our staff out in the community, really getting involved in the work of the chamber. We really appreciate our board, and we couldn't do what we do without you. We also want to thank our team at the Big Sky Chamber and Visit Big Sky. Brad Nava is here with us as our new CEO, president of the Big Sky Chamber. If you haven't yet had the chance to meet Brad, he'll be speaking to us, giving you a little update later this evening, but he also would love to meet with many, if not all of you. So he has an open door and would love to schedule time to hear from you. And then of course, our tried and true team, Caitlin, Lori, Nicole, and our two new visitor information center coordinators, Bryn and Fallon. So tonight is technically our annual meeting for the year with our members. And so we have a little housekeeping to go through. And we've had a lot of exciting things happening lately that we want to share with the community. So I'm going to speak briefly to our membership base and the growth over the past year, just give you a few interesting stats that we wanted to highlight. So I'm relatively new to the chamber. I've been in this position coming up on 1 year next month. And even though I've lived in the community now almost 16 years, I still have a lot to learn about the chamber and how best to serve our business community and all the businesses that we serve. Despite a lot of the effects of COVID, we've been really fortunate enough to see an increase in our new members in the last year, 75 new members coming on. And as you see driving around Big Sky, we have a lot of development going on, a lot of activity and businesses booming. So new restaurants, new businesses joining our community, as well as across the greater Gallatin Valley. It's definitely an exciting time to be here in Big Sky. I think everyone can agree on that, and it's kept us all very busy. But I also wanted to point out on here the member drops over the last year. It's just as important, if not more important, for us to kind of monitor what our renewing and continuing members are doing and if they drop and why. We hope to see this number continue to go down in future years as the chamber evolves and as we have some new people in this position and new ideas and new projects coming up. So we're not only here to find shiny new businesses and bring on new member businesses. Of course, that is wonderful. We have a lot of new member businesses here joining us tonight, and we're really proud of these numbers. But we're committed to our membership retention and supporting our businesses that continue to support us, meeting you and your needs where you're at, and bringing continued value and reward on investment based on our efforts and our initiatives that we do in the community. So at the end of the day, we are a nonprofit membership-based organization, and stewardship is one of our top priorities. So we truly feel that our community is our business, which is kind of our tagline. You can see at the bottom here, we've also seen significant increase in our dues revenue and membership dues revenue year over year, and providing value, that consistency and building trust and relationships with our membership base has really been a goal of mine in the past year and something I hope to continue into the coming year. So we love welcoming new members, new member businesses into the community and into our family. Big Sky, our community is small, but each business that comes here really, they're coming from a singular dream that goes into actualization and becomes reality, using their entrepreneurial spirit and bringing something unique to our community. So ribbon cuttings, may appear to be a relatively small ceremony, but to us, they signify something much larger. As an organization, it's taking a moment like this to recognize the hard work that many of you, that these businesses have put in, the blood, sweat, and tears to make their business a reality. And much like this dinner tonight is recognizing the hard work that people are putting into the community. So this type of investment in any way, shape, or form is really what brings vibrancy to Big Sky and kind of makes us who we are. Here are the numbers on our current active members year over year from last year. So you can see some growth, in particular at the Blue Square member and the Black Diamond, Double Black Diamond level. We do have additional construction industry benefits that we've added to our Blue Square member level, which I think has contributed to that growth in the last year. And we've seen upgrades of existing members and new investors coming into the community at that Black Diamond, Double Black Diamond. So we're very proud of that and what that speaks to. Here's a breakdown of our membership by investment level. And you'll see that our $350 base or lower level investors, they actually make up it's continued same as last year, about an 83% of our membership base. And what I think is interesting about this slide is that about half of our incoming membership dues are actually made up from those 83% of small business members. And so all dollars that are coming into our organization really do allow us and our team to execute important programming and initiatives that benefit the whole community. The last chart I have tonight is members by location, where the business is located. And you can see that about 50% are in Big Sky, Gallatin Gateway. So of course that's a split between the canyon and down out of the mouth of the canyon. And then about 40% of our businesses are down in the Bozeman, Greater Gallatin Valley region. The 10% other does represent many businesses from other cities around the state. So Billings, Missoula, Helena, as well as 12 other states nationwide. It'd be easy to assume that Big Sky and our chamber represents only Big Sky. And a lot of people think that, who maybe don't live in Big Sky. However, I think this chart alone helps to show that for a small town, our significant economic impact and the interconnectedness of businesses reaches much further across the region and the state. The Big Sky Chamber is proud to be a conduit to help facilitate these conversations and important initiatives for our region and for our state. So we're very proud of that. We also often hear from our members that they're seeing the results of what we're doing and they want to be involved. They see the excitement and the action happening in Big Sky and with what the Big Sky Chamber has going on and what we can offer their business. So here's a couple testimonials I liked that came in recently. I'll let you read those. We've really received some great testimonials lately, and I believe that these two kind of capture what we're aiming to do and how we can help individual businesses and the people here to thrive. So thank you all again for being here tonight and for your investment in our organization and our mission to improve the overall quality of life and living here, raising our families here in Big Sky. Next, I'm going to take a drink of water. Next, I'd like to introduce to the podium one of our presenting sponsors for tonight's event, Big Sky Resort. Troy Nedved, right here, Big Sky Resort table, is the general manager of Big Sky Resort, where his career spans 25 years, during which he's had experience as head of mountain sports, guest services base camp, and serving as the resort's executive team. Troy spent 22 summers working for the National Park Service in Yellowstone National Park, conducting wildlife and forestry management. And Troy's an avid skier and athlete. And I also personally have known Troy for almost 16 years. And I've spent countless Thanksgiving dinners, kids' birthday parties, rafting trips together. And if you guys ever want some amazing grizzly bear or wolf stories, Troy is your guy. He's probably not happy I offered him up for that. But I'm privileged to have Troy as a close friend and I'm honored to introduce him to the stage tonight. So thank you, Troy.
Thanks, Anna. Anyway, welcome and good evening. Excuse me, something in my throat. Good evening, everyone. It's always an honor for us to host community events up here at the resort. Pretty special opportunity for us, so thank you. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces tonight. It's really a great thing. Anna talked a lot about this last year and us being beyond COVID, and I'm sure we can't talk about that enough, but I want to thank everyone in this room and our community for all the hard work and perseverance, teamwork, all the things that came together to get us through this last year. It was a pretty phenomenal success, and I think we'd all agree upon that. We all know that the growth we experienced in the last winter, or last year, is pretty unexpected, or at least for me. We're expecting a lot of growth, but not during COVID. It's just a bit of a new world for all of us. And I think a lot of the partnerships and relationships that are built in this room and throughout our community and a lot of the organizations are really part of that success, and it's going to pave the way for a lot that we have in front of us. So anyway, thanks for everyone's contribution to all of that. Up at the resort this year, just to give you a couple of quick highlights on our capital projects. Everyone knows about Swift Current 6, and obviously we started that last year, got postponed a bit with COVID and such, but it's well underway and we're on track for this coming winter. So we're excited to announce that we're planning on having it for opening day. So that's, well, can't get here fast enough, as we all know. It was a pinch point last winter. Next, a really important thing for us is our lodging efforts. We have two major remodels, both in this hotel, in the Summit Hotel and the Huntley, going on this summer. So major renovations in both of those properties, which is a big deal for us. And then lastly, one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I think we've been talking about this my entire career, but snowmaking on Upper Mr. K, which is really going to link the consistent snow of our upper mountain and tie it in with our lower mountain snowmaking. So big project for us, and that is flying along, and we'll have that ready for opening day as well. So a lot of good stuff happening at the resort and a lot of busy stuff happening within our construction schedule. So beyond us, I know there's a lot of ambitious projects happening in our community. And I think that, as I referenced earlier, it's really about our partnerships and our relationships and figuring out how we have and plan for sustainable and some smart growth moving forward. So I don't want to be too long-winded, but I look forward to working with all of you on this next chapter of our history for our Big Sky community. So have a great dinner. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Scott Johnson. I am I've been had the privilege of being the board chair the last 3 years. And frankly, standing here right now, getting ready to turn over the reins to Katie Grice over here officially. Sitting in my chair over there, looking around the room, seeing the people over at the upstairs. I've known some of you for 31 years of my life, and it's been really remarkable to grow, and I'm grateful for that. So at first, I'm just saying thank you. You too. Yeah. That man gave me my first gin Bloody Mary on a golf tournament that he used to run. And if you know those two, you know that's a dangerous start at 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's not why I'm standing here right now. I just want to tell you a few additional items about the chamber. I stood here 2 years ago and kind of reviewed some things, but we're here tonight to kind of recognize the power of partnership, as Troy just stated, to reflect on the chamber's path, as Anna just did, and to support our businesses. We're also here to celebrate our community, and that's something that we don't get to do. We all lead great lives and work hard and play hard, is what my wife told me on the way up. And it's important not to lose that as we get into busier times and stressful times too. So let's celebrate our community tonight. Further than that, celebrating everybody in this room with the efforts and the work that gets done on a day-to-day basis. Finally, I'm going to turn over the gavel to Katie, and then also introduce Brad Nava, our new CEO. But before I do that, our mission at the chamber is manifold, but it's to extend your voice in a lot of our smaller businesses and to complement some of the voices of the bigger entities in these efforts. We're here to help create a healthy business climate. For a quick moment, let's all reflect back about 18 months ago. March 14th, we had a great winter. We had a healthy economy. And within hours, it was shut down. And it's really humbling to think about those next few months, sitting on the phone with many of you and Zoom calls and what are we doing, this and that. And the silence and the fluidity was a constant term that we all used. And so those are important things to remember. And then slowly, as we got into summer, we started seeing signs of life. Despite the national press, this little community started seeing signs of life. And it's not just one thing. It's a combination of years of effort and projects and businesses and people. And those people decided to come here. We were their refuge, and a lot of them have stayed. So we're grateful to that. But our markets and our clients changed. As I said, we became a refuge. We didn't have airlines for a while, but hey, things have continually gotten better and busier. This community has business levels at times that I haven't seen in my entire career in Big Sky. Yellowstone Park, same way. So face masks were the new norm. It's incredible to stand here tonight and look at everybody and their faces and smiles and give hugs. It feels really good. So 2 years ago, I stood at the Wilson Hotel and I said, it takes a village. It hasn't changed, and hopefully it never will. Our Big Sky is the village in this metaphor. we consistently excel with the power of partnership, as we're going to talk about that. It's not about one thing, it's about sharing ideas, efforts, and people. So as the voice of the business in this community, this chamber represents 400 plus businesses and the residents in this town too, in many ways, because of what we do for the businesses reflects a lot of what can be done from the guests and the residents that are in our town. But when you think of 400, it's a pretty powerful entity when we go and lobby in Montana. Montana is a big state, but with 400 businesses behind us, we have the opportunity to create a little more of a punch, and we're grateful to that. It's also important with our cross-county commissioners. When we speak and we organize meetings, they're they accept the meeting invitation a lot more than they used to, put it that way, because they understand what's happening up in our little valley. So 2 years ago, the chamber created an economic snapshot or profile. It seems a bit mundane, but as all of you know, we are a community full of associations with a non-traditional government, so to speak. But one of the results, obviously one of the biggest ones, and the floor is in the room, you know, kudos to you. The Housing Trust was born from the chamber, and you've taken it and run wherever you are, Laura. I don't see you. All right, there we go. So got a lot of things going there. But one of the big items that came from that community study was not only housing shortages for employee housing, but was our cellular coverage and how we have blackout areas. And one of the things I'm really proud of, Caitlin has really grabbed and run with the last, well, frankly, for about 1.5 years, but due to COVID, it got tabled from a company that we engaged with called Crown Castle. And I just wanted to let everybody know, they've been in market, I think 2 or 3 times now with some crazy machines, studying where our weaknesses are, but also most importantly, putting together a plan for what we can be in the future. And one of the best things is they're not asking for a lot of money or any money for that matter. So we actually have the opportunity to be a showcase community, not only in the Rocky Mountains, but in the country. And this is all a result of some of the studies that a lot of you, and especially the board and Team Big Sky here, has taken a part of. So we try and identify problems, and then we try and put a plan together and solve it. And that goes back to that partnership, as it takes everybody in this. So I don't want to drain on or anything like that, but tonight's a great example of coming together, and it's once a year. Standing here is abject fear for me, but it's awesome to sit here and see the faces and the stories and the history we've all had together. And so I've been lucky enough to live and work in Big Sky for 30 years, as I've said. It's not always easy, but it is the best. And that's something we can't lose sight of as we get busier and bigger. And the chamber is here to complement that going forward. And I want to really drill that one down. So with that, you know, I'm honored to introduce Katie Grice, your incoming board chair. She is the director of sales for Big Sky Resort, position that I was very familiar with a long time ago, so I understand. And I'm grateful that she accepted the offer of taking the gavel for this. But some things you don't know is, you know, Katie also chaired one of the most powerful tourism groups in the state of Montana, the Montana Tourism Advisory Council. And so she brings to this chair actually a world of wisdom, and is really one of our new shining bright stars in Big Sky going forward. So finally, a welcome to one of our other newest community members, Brad Nava, who's our new CEO. He brings a history of some ski area history with Mount Bachelor and mountain tourism experience with a rafting company that he built and owned. He did take a small stint working in medical sales and decided that the mountains were more interesting than doctor's offices. So I applaud him for that, and we're grateful that he's here. And Brad's been in market for about 3 weeks now, and we'll be moving his family out by the end of the summer, I hope. And kids will be in school and things like that. So we're grateful to have you here, Brad. Bringing it back. Through the Power Partnership, we do have a lot to be thankful for, and this room's a really good example of that. Our proverbial village, so to speak, is growing. And, look at where we are, good Lord. Brian Wheeler, where are you? This is your building, from 1996 to 2001. It's pretty cool to be sitting in here doing this. It's nice. So anyway, we have plenty of challenges. Let's not forget them, but we can overcome them. And let's keep that in mind. And our chamber is here to help you do that. So personally, I want to say thank you, Team Big Sky. You guys have made my chairmanship and my board time over the years fantastic. And to every board member in this room, thanks for your tolerance. So frankly, didn't exactly know all my Robert's Rules of Orders, but thank you for that. So anyway, it's been a privilege to live and work here, and thank you. All the best.
Good evening. Hi, everybody. I'm a lot better when I come. So, hey, Scott, can you come back up here? I'm sorry. I know you just got the table, your seat, and you jumping right into your salad. And feel free to start eating your salads. It's we're not waiting to eat. So, if you don't mind coming up, the chamber board would just like to recognize all the thank you for your work on the board over the last number of years. And I think if I give you any advice for all future board chairs, always try to not be in the role where you have to hire a new CEO, because I know that's always the hardest part. Now, honestly, Martha though said you would much rather have this instead.
All right, can I get a glass of ice?
So 1:30 in the free parking lot area on the back of this pickup truck. We're doing this distance.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Day 16 for me. I am in this new role. I came up from beautiful Oregon. I've had the honor of owning 3 tourism-related businesses over the last few years, actually the last 15 years. And funny enough, someone wanted to buy one of my companies, and then they bought another company, and then they bought another company. And so found myself unemployed about 5 years ago with about 15 years of tourism and marketing and business background. And I became the regional director for tourism in Oregon, part of a big system called Travel Oregon. Travel Oregon generates a little over $12 billion in visitor spending on an annual basis. So about 4 times what Montana's doing. But the program that we have and what we're doing is pretty unique. And so as I started looking at this opportunity, I thought this was a good fit for me. So a couple of things I just want to point out, of course, is our great board. And as Scott mentioned, we are doing a little transition here. So I just want to point out that Katie's our new board chair. Frank Aceto with Yellowstone Club is our vice chair. Ken Lancy with Grizzly Outfitters is treasurer, and Taylor Rose with Big Sky Medical, of course, is our secretary. So, and then the rest of our team, and I believe all of you are here, right? Raise your hands. I think everybody's here. So, anyways, thank you for your service. Thank you for hiring me. All right. Well, I'm supposed to talk about myself, but I don't know if I want to talk about myself. I just thought I'd start with a little quick anecdote. So back when I was 17 years old, I was a valet parker. I used to park cars at a fancy restaurant in Bellevue, Washington, where Microsoft and a number of other big companies would come out of. And one of the neat things about being a valet parker is you get to drive really nice cars. But at this one particular restaurant that I worked at, every night before our shift started, the maitre d' would come out and be like, all right, put in your orders. And you let all of the valets order dinner. Really nice kind of touch. And then at the end of our shift, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11, he'd come out, all right, we're setting on the kitchen in 20 minutes. What do you guys want to eat? And it was a dream. I mean, we're driving nice cars, we get to eat good food, but it never made any sense to me. And I was like, why do we do this? Why do you do this? And he's like, well, it's really simple. You're the first person that greets my guests and the last person that says goodbye to my guests. So if you're happy, my customers will be happy. And so my Big Sky group's right here, right? So today, I'm coming into the parking lot over here. And guess what? Your guy in the $20 parking is like, let me show you where to park. In 10 minutes, it's going to be free. Hang out and chill. So I just want to say your parking staff is doing a great job in regards to welcoming and very hospitable. So but I think that's just a nice culture that I could say that in Big Sky in general, I found that to be happening everywhere. You folks have welcomed me, and I'm excited to be here. So thank you. My family is coming soon, but so I've been fortunate enough to be working on a river. I had a corporate job. I used to wear a tie. I used to spend 200 nights a year on the road in Marriott's. And I always thought the grass was greener somewhere. And I thought, you know, if I own my own business, I could do anything I want. I could go work out. I could take my kids to softball practice, you know, because I am the dictator of my schedule. But sadly, as we all know, if you own a business that you work for, you sleep less. And sadly, sometimes you don't have as much money as you hope. But anyways, it was one of those things. It was a dream of mine to own my own business. And so it's fun enough. I had the opportunity to buy a small rafting company on the Rogue River in Southern Oregon and ended up doing that. But previous to that, I was in Bend, Oregon for 25 years, and I watched Bend grow from a little 14,000 person town that had a lot of country music and no place to get food after 9 o'clock to now 100,000 people and a large town. And if anything, I'd say future Bozeman. I mean, that Bozeman will continue to grow, could end up like a Bend. I had a fortunate time of working in Mount Bachelor, and as with any ski town in Bend back in 1990, you better show up with a job, bring a job, and bring a girlfriend, because those two things are not very prevalent in a ski town. But so far, 24 years later, I'm married to this woman that I met, and she, my wife Babs, she drove snowcats in Mount Bachelor for years, was the only female cat driver, so it's kind of cool when you get to date the cat driver. All right, and then I have two great kids, Piper and Riley, and they're excited to move out here. One of them's really excited, one of them's kind of not so excited, but we're, you know, that's what happens when you have kids. So, all right. Notes, and the thoughts really quick is, as I was going through this hiring process, my background is, like I said, in sales, marketing, owning a business, walking in the shoes of a business owner. And as the board started interviewing me through the process, I admitted I had never run a chamber of commerce before. And I actually admitted that I'm not a chamber guy. And that the reason, as a business owner, I found that some chambers are really good and some, I don't know what they do. And I said, as I looked at this job and I looked at this opportunity, I told the board, I'm like, I'm gonna be the kind of guy that comes in and gets stuff done. I'm sorry, that's just who I am. And the board welcomed me with that. And so there's a saying, and if you've heard me speak before, I have a motto, and I don't have any tattoos, but if I did have a tattoo, on one arm, it would say, be of service. And I think that's what the chamber needs to do, be of service to our constituents. On the other arm, it would say, get shit done. So that's our motto. I'm not making the staff get that as a tattoo, but it's just something that I want you to kind of think of the culture that what I'm hoping we can do with this operation and as we move forward with the chamber. There's a lot going on, and as your community continues to grow, there's some neat opportunities, but there's some things I want Big Sky not to forget, and there's some basic things that we really should be looking at. And so one is we have, of course, a lot of nonprofits, and we should all be working together, combining our efforts to make sure that our community grows and is strong. I see no reason why everybody should just be out working on their own by themselves. So we'll be working on that. Next one is just trying to do a Google My Business trainings with our small business owners. If you're not on Google with your business, with your office hours, COVID's forced a lot of restaurants to do that, but we're going to make sure that that's a big push for us. Other things that I'm looking at is like recruitment and retention of employees. How do we get more people? How do we keep them? And so one of the models I'm looking at is doing a group health insurance. If you're a member of the Big Sky Chamber, you'll be able to apply to a group health plan. That's going to still be a year or two out. It's quite a bit of time to get that established, but that is a goal of ours to move that forward. Trying to give you folks more recruitment tools. How do you get people? How do you recruit people? And then, as Scott mentioned, the cellular connectivity. And I have to admit, there was two things the board didn't tell me. They didn't tell me about this thing called a Tiger grant. I just thought you guys had a tiger here, that being grant. And so, and then the other one was the cellular. So I'm jumping into those and learning those as fast as I can and making those happen. So I am this week, trying, I've had lunch today with Chris and I have lunch tomorrow with Shannon, and I am trying to meet as many businesses, business owners, business people in town. So if you want to grab a cup of coffee, have lunch, please reach out, because I'd love to just understand your business and what you do. I love business. I love the challenges of business. I think it's so much in our lives as we are business owners, running a business is one of the greatest gifts we have, or honors we have, is we get to problem solve. And so I just really appreciate that and love that. So if there's something I can offer or give you advice, or not that I know everything, but it's always fun to jump into a project. So that's all I have to say tonight. And so grab me if you want, and I'd love to chat with you some more. At this point, I get to introduce our next person, and that is one of our sponsors, and that is Tally Lampy. And Tally, of course, is with Sotheby's International Real Estate Group. And as she's kind of making her way up here, I'm just going to compliment her for a quick second, because some of you I called during my interview process trying to understand Big Sky, and I flew out here to see Big Sky before I even been here, because I hadn't been here before. And I must say, this wonderful person does more marketing than I think Visit Big Sky does for the community. So when you look at her website and the resources that she puts out there in regards to supporting visitors coming to the area, learning about Big Sky, and what she does is just wonderful. So nice work. It's a good model for all of us.
I know it was on the piece of paper that Anna gave me that part of the sponsorship included a speech. But I didn't really internalize that until Caitlin met with me last week and said, "What are you going to speak about?" And I said, "Oh dear God." What? So I didn't have any slides prepared. We're going to just try and pull up our company's website. If you could go to Asians. Okay. I decided that it would be nice to congratulate Tim and Kathy. I'm mad, Kathy, you make me cry. Built this company for 19 years and just 21 years. And they're the new owner, the new steward of their company is here with us tonight, Shelly Johnson, who is the CEO of Northwest Real Estate Brokers, and her husband, Mark. Thank you guys for being here. The sale happened just a few weeks ago, and Tim and Kathy are fresh off the plane with a brand new tan in from Florida, looking great. Tim is very happy. And the message that I want to send you all tonight is that we are all very happy too. Our 15 agent team is a tightly knit company. And I'd like to just share a little bit about our group to demonstrate our commitment to our community. So in no particular order, but this is how prepared I am. I'm just pulling up our website so you can see all of our faces. Caitlin, I'm going to try and zoom out. I don't know that I can. Anyway, here we go. Tori Sear. She is the only real local among us. She grew up here and knows this town better than anyone. Laura Saki founded the Morning Star Learning Center and survived a scary fall while skiing down the North Summit a few years ago. She's good as new now. Ben Coleman is our guy who summits Wilson at dawn and scoots back down the mountain just in time for his office shift, and he is a fully dedicated father and husband. Will Bruner is my fellow Cincinnatian. A long time ago, he started his own timber company. He volunteered for the fire department, served on the BSOA, and we can always count on him for a laugh. Lisa Knorr, I wish all these people were in the room, but I didn't do the advanced planning. Lisa Knorr is the former controller for Big Sky Resort. She knows Hidden Village better than anyone on the planet. And she's the mother of a brand new golden retriever puppy. Doesn't have a name yet. Eric Becker is the past president of the Big Sky Ski Education Foundation. He helped found the Gallatin River Task Force. His daughter, Riley Bell, is a sort of famous TEDx Big Sky speaker. Justa Adams, despite being relatively new to town, started a brand new beloved Big Sky event. She spearheaded the ski touring event in Town Center. She rounded up sponsors, athletes, and excavators, and it'll be back in full swing next year. Kate Tompkinson is a treasured entrepreneur in the Meadow Village. She championed the Big Sky Artisan Festival to its now very successful place, and she went to high school with my mom, so she feels like family to me. Callie Pecunis. One of the things I learned first about Callie was that she used to have a show on live television. Her charisma conveys off screen. Under her tenure as the chair of the PTO, she brought the pie auction into the modern era. Scott O'Connor's the new guy. I don't know him yet. Terry Radke and her husband operate a well-respected property management company and are new parents to Isla. They really embrace the mountain lifestyle. Julie Blakely has been with the company the longest. She is our historian, culture shaper, and she's the one who drinks all of the Diet Cokes. Yes, she does. That's right. Lindsay Bedell, also known as Peter Bedell's much better half, keeps our team rolling forward on all things behind the scenes. She establishes our foundation. She's as reliable as they come. Finally, Amy Sand. I am gonna cry. Our company could not exist without you. Her sister Jackie cuts about everybody's hair in town. The thing that they have in common is an incredible talent for listening. Please join me in a toast to Tim and Kathy and to welcome Shelly to the Big Sky business community. Thank you.
Here we go.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Just a quick technical. Okay. Oh, turn it off. Ty, you were quick, girl. Dang. Turn that right off. You're like, I'm done. Thank you. No one else shall speak right now. I'm Caitlin Quisenberry, the Community and Programming Manager for the Big Sky Chamber of Commerce. I know it. Thank you. I can't even tell where that's coming from, but I appreciate it. I think it's the Leadership Big Sky Table of Suffolk. I'll take it. I do the programming and events for our chamber, but also a lot of the outreach for our community. And I'm just here to say, we're moving on to one of my favorite parts of the night, the Black Diamond Business Awards. I think the theme for tonight is quite clear. We're all stoked on Big Sky. We're all stoked to be here. And I'm just happy that we get to celebrate it with some pretty glass that I bought. So we have 5 great awards for 5 great people and businesses in town. But that, like Anna was saying earlier tonight, does not mean that we only have 5. This town, day in and day out, impresses me. I've been at the Chamber of Commerce for 4 years now, and it's hard work, but I've stuck around because of this thing we keep talking about, this feeling of partnership and excitement to be here. And it's just, I'm so honored to be a part of this organization that brings you all here to this table and gets to celebrate it. I know we're all doing hard work, but we get to go host the party. So with that, invite Anna up to give out the first award.
Thank you, Caitlin. Anyone need to go get a second drink? Their final drink? Anyone? Feel free. Dinner's on its way, I think. Okay. First up tonight, we have our Emerging Entrepreneur Award. And this we classify as a business person who has brought fresh entrepreneurial spirit to our Big Sky business community. So you can see we had a number of awesome nominees. Thank you to all who nominated, by the way, for all of these awards. We had, I think, a record number of nominations this year. Very, very excited to have you guys involved and telling us what meant a lot to you in the last year. So our winner for Emerging Entrepreneur is, anyone want to do drum roll? Bill Fry. Yeah, go ahead and make your way up. I'll speak about Bill for a moment as he makes his way up. Bill Fry of Encore Electric, he came to Big Sky from Colorado originally to work on the Yellowstone Club Village Core project. And although the project was completed in 2019, Bill chose to stay here in Big Sky and make Big Sky home for him and his wife and his new baby. With Bill's initiative and hard work, he started a remote office for Encore Electric here in Big Sky. And he joined the Big Sky Chamber just last September and immediately jumped into everything that we had going on. He has worked hard to establish Encore Electric's presence in Big Sky and in our community. Let's see. Oh, with a boots on the ground. I like this term that Caitlin said, with a boots on the ground approach and getting his company name out there. So a couple examples include volunteering to deliver groceries for the Big Sky Community Food Bank and coming to our chamber events. In fact, I think Bill's been to every single one of our quarterly new member meetups. And then he jumped onto the cohort of Leadership Big Sky for this year to really learn the ins and outs of how business is done in Big Sky. With Bill at the helm, Encore Electric was awarded the major Big Sky Resort project happening this summer to do the electrical work on the Swift Current 6 chair storage building at the top of the new lift. And partners have described Bill as always well planned out, on top of his work, and that they don't have to worry about if something's going to get done on time because they know Bill has it planned out and that he'll stick to his commitments. Additionally, Bill has expressed that there's a need in our community for quality electrical services and for educating youth about the opportunities in the electrical field. Encore Electric will have an event set up, an activity at PBR this summer where people can go in and experience what it's like to learn about the electrical industry and its important role in this trade industry. So congratulations, Bill. Come on up.
Perfect, thank you.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, well, that's a little nerve-wracking. Haven't had a formal speech since high school, so this ought to be good. So thank you very much, Big Sky Chamber of Commerce. I mean, you guys are awesome, so welcoming for a new member, and Caitlin, everything you've done for me, helping me out. Like, thank you guys very much, and welcome, Brad. Roughly 5 years ago, Encore Electric was invited here to Big Sky by a core client of ours to build what at the time was the largest project in construction project in Montana history. It's now a close second, thanks to our friends at Suffolk Construction, building the beautiful Montage Big Sky. Not long after moving to the area, I caught a bug, and it's a bug that I'm sure everybody in this room has caught at one point or another. I love this place.
Encore Electric saw that I loved this place, that my team loved this place, our team loved this place. So they decided to give it a shot here in Big Sky. Since then, we have started a service and special projects division to serve this rapidly growing community, as well as continue to build for our core trade partners. Thanks to the Big Sky Chamber of Commerce and the welcoming Big Sky community, I have met a lot of people, a lot of wonderful people in this community. For those of you in the room that I have been fortunate enough to meet, thank you. And for those that I have not yet met, I look forward to meeting you. This award is an honor, and thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I can't turn that microphone off quick.
Oh. I thought this was the only speech I was supposed to get tonight. Caitlin reminded me that 10% of the chamber members are nonprofit organizations. That's a lot. And everyone in this room knows our business community relies upon the work of our local and regional nonprofits. This award was created to highlight their leaders and their work. Unlike the Oscars, where we wait to tell you the winner at the end, I'm going to lead with this and tell you the recipient's name, because as soon as I start talking about him, you and he will know exactly about whom I am speaking, Danny Pershwall. That's Danny. Brad rhymes with Godiva. Nava knows that I have a name trick. I can try to remember names by help making them rhyme. I got nothing. I went to rhymezone.com.
You start with beer.
Yeah, beer fall, rear fall. Is this anyway? That's how you pronounce Danny's last name. I think Brad said shit, so I'm just gonna go for it. Would it be too much to say that Danny covered her ass in the last year? Saved our asses. He is more than deserving of this recognition for his exemplary contribution to our community. You know what, come to think of it? This award should probably be accompanied by a 2-week vacation. Again, with the bad planning, sorry. In addition to the huge job running the Big Sky Resort Area District, a job that you excel at. Prior to COVID, you accomplished some enormously impactful endeavors. Scott reminded us of what 2020, March 2020 felt like. We all thought that the big sky was falling and we'd never recover. Danny made some calls. He called the community foundations. He called the BizRad recipients. He called the biggest tax remitters. Danny figured it out. He developed Big Sky Relief. He convened all of the operational partners on a weekly basis to ensure that accurate and timely information was flowing amongst them. He developed our community-wide surveillance testing program. This is covering the ass part. One time I couldn't find my test results and I ran into Danny and he said, just text me, what's your code? And I'll figure it out. And he delivered my test results to the lab. He crafted messaging for our community around COVID, precautions that were pro-tourism, a very difficult task. Two members of the BizRad board described Danny in ways that sounded different to me. One person said he's an anti-bureaucrat, and the other complimented him on how detail-oriented he is, especially when it comes to maneuvering legal and governmental regulations. I guess the way to marry those two observations would be to say that Danny operates effectively above the fray. I heard him described as having integrity, displaying a no-nonsense attitude, putting his shoulder into the work, caring deeply, and finally being the unifier who gets shit done. Honestly, I don't even know the half of it, Danny, what you did. I think in your spare time, you brokered a partnership between Lone Mountain Land Company and the Big Sky Community Housing Trust. Is that true? Somebody told me that. I can't believe it. That's a big job. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for covering our ass.
Very nice words, Sally. Thank you. It's nice to see all of you and not be standing up here saying, "Hi, I'm Danny Bierschwal with Big Sky Relief. Let me tell you about COVID testing and why that's important for our community here in Big Sky." This award is not about me. This award is about a community initiative. And one person, a good friend of mine, once described a partnership and quality partnerships as being a handshake, not a handout. And what this community has been able to do together in partnership, not through just the BizRad and through the efforts of the resort tax, but through the partnership of all 5 locally elected board members that we have, Kevin Germain, Sarah Blechta, Steve Johnson, Grace Young, and Sierra Wolf, but also through the foundations. And the foundations have worked together to forge this partnership through Big Sky Relief, which was, in my opinion, very innovative for being able to help support our community through a time of need. It's not just about the foundations, it's not just about the money, it's about the people that are involved. And we have some very amazing people in this room. We have some very amazing talent in this room that are able to pull off big initiatives like Big Sky Relief. And as we reflect on COVID through our keynote speaker tonight, I would suggest that we actually look back at COVID and see what we've been able to do together through partnership and learn from those opportunities into the future. We're faced with a lot of challenges ahead. We're rapidly growing. We have rivers that are now going into hoot owl restrictions in early June, which I've never seen before at this point in time. We have fires that are across the state, and this will not be the last challenge that will be faced in front of us as a community. We will come and rise to the occasion as a community that we work together, and I look forward to working with all of you into the future as we forge a new partnership with our community partners with Big Sky Relief. We're on the cusp of a Big Sky Relief 2.0. And I just want to thank our board and our staff for working so diligently to support the community. I want to thank the chamber for all that you did through COVID, and you're in good hands with Ms. Nava. I should have done a Godiva. You're in good hands with Brad. That's the bottom line. A lot of new characters in the community and a lot of talent has been added to the community for year. Such an honor to receive this award, and I want to thank you all for everything you've done to support the community through COVID. Thank you. Also, I want to comment on Scott's hot pink pants. Those are on fire, bud.
The new mountain.
The next award is the Business Person of the Year Award. But before I introduce that person, just want to tell Bill, wherever you're sitting, I am remodeling my house, and if you want to meet there, I'd love to meet you personally up there if that's possible. Finding an electrician in this town is almost impossible. Danny, where'd you sit back down? I've known Danny for 15 plus years, sitting on Yellowstone Country Tourism boards, and always enjoyed working with you back then and do now. So congratulations. It's awesome to have you in our community. So it's great. And by the way, Danny also hand delivered one of my COVID tests that got me on an airplane. So it was pretty important. I cannot thank you enough. So as far as what this award is, it's a nutshell. It's exactly what it says. It's the business person of the year for our community. Goes to somebody that displays calm, always displays integrity for the organization. And in tonight's case, reflective of what this gathering is, it's our community. And I cannot think of a business or an individual in our town for that matter. And that's pretty hard to say that has not benefited from this next winter's tireless and pretty much thankless efforts the last few years, especially working through this COVID. And I want to make sure that we do reflect on all the people that have helped us get through COVID and shared ideas, shared horsepower, shared muscle. But I've been fortunate to work alongside with this gentleman on the chamber board previously. I often looked at him as another opinion. He was honest in his beliefs, and sometimes you like that and sometimes you don't, but I did appreciate that. But I can't think of how many Zoom calls I've seen this person on that he's chaired over the last year, especially. So his goal has always been the same. Let's share information. Let's keep this town moving forward. I've also witnessed his efforts chairing the Big Sky Resort Tax Board, which I believe you've stepped down now too. I think we know who we're talking about now, but as we all know, it's a behemoth. The requests, the budgets, the allocations, the accountability, all of these things are massive. So congratulations on keeping it manageable and tight. As a friend, always respectful. I enjoy our interactions, and I am so honored to present tonight's Business Leader Award to Kevin Germain of Lone Mountain Land Company.
Have a speech. Tonight's all about the power of partnership. I really can't say anything more. I think about our community and what we do, and what I was thinking about over there, listening to people talk, I think about us more as family. Sometimes we don't get along, but we're all going in the same direction. And I wouldn't be up here tonight without a huge thanks to my employer, Lone Mountain Land Company, and Matt Kidd and Sam Byrne, because the amount of time that we've had to dedicate this year to community building and just really trying to respond to the pandemic, I couldn't do it without being allowed to do it. And so it wasn't just nights. There were plenty of Zoom calls during the day, and I didn't get all of my work done. So I'm sorry. Everybody in this room, I look around at the tables, everybody pitched in, and this year was awesome. It was a crazy year. It was a lot of tragedy throughout the world, but I've never been more proud to live in Big Sky than I've seen this year. So I really just want to thank everybody in this room for coming together, and let's keep it rolling. Thank you. Yes.
Our next presenter taking a quick photo.
I was just made aware that out in the lobby, we're selling t-shirts that says "Get Shit Done." So if anybody wants to take one home tonight, you're welcome to. All right, well, hard for me to say this because I don't know all these businesses, or I'm just starting to get to know you, but it is my honor to present the award for the Business of the Year. Big Sky Chamber gives out this award to a business that exemplifies success in the community over this past year. I think we can all agree that there's not a single business that didn't work hard over this last year. But one business stands out, though, as an organization that continually worked to keep us, the Big Sky community, connected, informed this last year, and that's what we needed more than anything. Thanks for their weekly virtual town halls to connect us with experts from across the board. They're reporting on all the ins and outs of Big Sky and to keep us up to date, and their Friday afternoon club concert series to keep our spirits light as together when we had to be socially distanced. The winner of this year's award is Outlaw Partners in Explore Big Sky.
Raise that hand.
All right, give an outlaw mic.
Here we go. Wow, thank you. That was a surprise. In 1999, I was working for Vail Resorts, and we were putting together the World Championship World Cup there in Vail, and I was proud to be a Vail Resorts employee. I'll never forget, I was riding up chair 5, I was in Middle Vail, and my phone rang. It was Warren Miller, and Warren was a good friend, my mentor. And Warren called and said, "Eric, get on a plane tomorrow. You're flying to Big Sky, and your life's about to change." Well, I don't know about you, but when Warren says jump, I would say how high. This guy's a legend. And Warren probably did more to help build the ski industry to what it is today, and for that matter, Big Sky, than any human who's ever graced the planet. So I got in my car, drove to Denver. There was not direct flights to Bozeman then. There was one flight. And those that remember in the late 90s, it was a very scary flight. Big Sky Airlines, I think it was called. This twin prop that flew in. Warren picked me up in Bozeman and drove me up in his car. He had his dog Booler sitting shotgun with us, and we drove up in the meadow. There was nothing in the meadow, dirt road. We drove up, and I nestled into one of the cabins up at Yellowstone Club. And the next morning I woke up and I saw this view of Lone Mountain, and that view is still framed in my office today. It was a really good snow year. I remember the peak was completely full. So Troy, I don't know if you remember that year, but it was a good year. And, so the next morning I got up, got on the chairlift with the amazing Warren Miller and Yellowstone Club. There was 4 of us on the mountain that day. It was Tim Blixa, Warren Miller, myself, and Stein Erickson. And I'm like, man, I won the lottery. This is insane. So we went down, drove up, skied around the mountain that day. We had 3 chairlifts running. Tim, those that knew Tim was doing what Tim did best. I mean, he knew how to sell a dream. So we went to lunch that day, and I was sitting there, and Tim said, "I understand that Warren says you want to come work for me." I was like, "Tim, if I could work here, I work here for free." And Tim's like, "Done." That was the easiest negotiation I ever had. Walked on. So I tell that story because Warren pulled me aside that day and said, "Eric, in your lifetime, you are never going to see a ski resort get built ground up like you're about to see happen to Yellowstone Club and Big Sky." And he was right. And Warren would be proud to be in this room tonight to see what Big Sky and Yellowstone Club has turned into. He did a lot for this town. So years later, when Megan and I started Outlaw, and this insanely talented team was behind me, we remember what the advice Warren gave us, and it's the power of storytelling. So when I left working at Yellowstone Club, we started Outlaw, and the main reason we started Outlaw, I remember Taylor Pennington sat me down, and Taylor's like, "Why in the heck do you want to start a newspaper?" He's like, "Did you get the memo? That business is dying." And I was like, "Well, I feel like Big Sky needs a voice. There's a lot of cool stuff happening here, amazing businesses, amazing entrepreneurs, and crazy stuff happening here. We need to start a voice." And, you know, fast forward now 11 years, we've got the same team, and we're doing marketing, media, and events, and the PBR, and the TEDx, and all this cool stuff that this team pulls off. it's all because of just the opportunity that this town has provided us, and we're here just to tell your story. And so we are your humble servants at Outlaw to tell the story of Outlaw, or tell the story of Big Sky. We are outlaws because we do what outlaws do, and we ride strong. And it's about a firm handshake and doing what people promise and having your shoulders back, but being fair. And that's what outlaws do. And we're really humbled to have this award tonight. This is a total surprise to us. This team now, during COVID, on March 16th, Megan and I sat down with the team and we were like, guys, this could be the end. And we sent everybody home, said COVID, it's over. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I remember going home that night choked up going, I don't know how we're gonna provide for this family of outlaws. And fast forward 18 months later, our company's doubled in size. PBR is sold out 2x over. Insane things have come our way, and we are beyond grateful for those opportunities. A lot of the sponsors who have been part of our events and our media are in this room tonight, so we tip our hat to you. Thank you. We could not do it without you. So we are, every week, our company goes around and says what we're grateful for. And almost every week, someone on our team makes sure that we talk about how we're grateful for the people that support us so that we can serve them. So 2 things I'm grateful for tonight. One, this award, thank you. Second is this insane team. And third is Warren Miller. I never want to let that name die or what he's done for us and what he did for me. So Warren, we did it. All right, thank you.
Okay, last award. I haven't been able to see my plate yet, and so thank you for not eating my food. Thank you so much. Trust. Scott, thanks for your service on the board. Tough shoes to fill. I'll take the opportunity to publicly say that in sales, I've uncovered some typewriter written documents from Scott in the past, and yes, thank you. Yeah, the whiteout and all. Thank you. So I grew up, and what I think I got the opportunity to do is grow up a second time when I moved to Big Sky 15 years ago. And part of that growing up is learning that community success depends on those who have vision and those who roll up their sleeves, problem solve, and those who lend a hand to their neighbors. And many of these visionaries who have selflessly dedicated their careers to serving those neighbors and bettering our community are sitting in this room here, mentoring us who are coming up and creating a better Big Sky for future generations. So it's my pleasure tonight to present the 2021 Chet Huntley Lifetime Achievement Award. This award honors the leaders of Big Sky who over time have created a lasting impact on our community. And some leaders are honored because they engage minds of our future leaders, some because they engage minds of our more seasoned residents, and some, like today, just live under the same roof as well and do both. So she's a dear mentor to me. She's a fearless leader. She's always gone above and beyond what you would think a teacher or librarian would do for her kids. These are just a few of the sentiments that you'll hear if you ask about Kathy House. Kathy's recent retirement after more than 30 years at the Big Sky School District is marked with many accomplishments. From her ad in the paper many, many years ago, asking the community to engage about a public library, to her organization of Read Across America, also known as Dr. Seuss Day, Kathy's created lifelong readers through her engaged and creative programming. Her dedication to her students and community has and will continue to leave a lasting impact. As Kathy has shared, she retires feeling positive, knowing what's been created for everyone to enjoy in the future. Dave House has also made a career of engaging minds, but they were the adult ones. For over 30 years, he's been behind the helm of the Corral Bar, Steakhouse and Motel. Dave's vision helped transform the dance hall and motel into a bar and then into a restaurant, and as it stands today, an institution in Big Sky. It's full of character and characters, respectively. He's been witness to generations of visitors who make a point to stop at the Corral to experience that authentic Montana hospitality. When asked what his best piece of advice that he's received, Dave shared, it's the importance of authenticity, of doing the right thing, and supporting those who support you. Please join me in congratulating the 2021 Chet Huntley Lifetime Achievement Award winners, Kathy and Dave House. Dave taught me how to run a golf tournament, so.
Okay, most of you know me as never at a loss for words, but I am right now. I just feel so honored. I don't even really know where to begin. It was really fun when Scott said that, that's the biggest thing is how many years you have been part of the community and how much it's changed. That it just, but continues to grow in such a positive way, and everything that everyone's done and continues to do for everyone in this community. I'm gonna just, because I have to tell a little story. And I came to Montana. I am from Minnesota, and I came from Minnesota, and I got a job in Yellowstone in 1979, and I remember driving the Gallatin Canyon, and I was going to Morehead State in Minnesota to be a teacher, and I remember seeing that little Ophir school and thinking someday I want to teach at that school. And I told my girlfriend that, and she said, good luck. We had no idea. And then in 1980, I worked in the park for 5 more summers. And in 1983, I moved to Bozeman and got a job in Three Forks and was driving up to go see the fires in 1988 and decided to stop at this little bar on the side.
It was a fateful day.
Yeah, one I'll never forget. And we stopped in there, and my girlfriend and I we're just having a beer and a burger. And these 2 guys came up and said, do you want to shoot a game of pool? I said, sure, I'm a gamer. And I went and I said, as I was playing the game of pool, I said, God, I love this bar. And Dave, who happened to be one of the guys that asked me to play pool, said, I own it. That's what they all say. And then, and then everyone at the bar said, yeah, he does own it. And then on the way out, he asked me to play golf the next day. And I will say, I'm so grateful that I chose to say yes and play that game of golf and bring me to this community, because it is amazing. From there, I got my teaching job. I taught in the school for 4 years. We had triplet boys, and I decided I couldn't teach full-time and decided to just go take the library position. And then it was just a terrible, terrible library. I'm sorry to say, anyone that was here during that time knows. But I put my efforts towards building a better library, and I knew the only way I could get that to happen was to include the community. And so I was sitting at the bunker, believe it or not, and having a conversation with some ladies and said, what do you think about starting a community library? And they said, threw $20 in and said, well, let's start a Friends of Library group. And in 2000, we asked the resort tax for $26,000 to buy computers. We got the confirmation from the school to start one, and little did we know what it was going to grow into today. And I have to say, it was so many people that trusted and believed in this community that we needed a library. And I feel so proud, and like I really feel to this day that it's not even about me, it's about everyone that believed in the fact that we need a library. And I just can't say enough to this community. And I think the bottom line is, as I retire, I just feel so blessed to be able to walk away and know that there's this amazing resource available to the community because of this small little group at the bunker that threw in $20. And you know, that just makes me feel so good. I mean, when I look around at so many people that I have known throughout the years, Big Sky has changed so drastically. I've taught some of their kids. They have come through my library. Actually, some of my, I have one in particular when the kids ask me, why am I retiring? And I said, well, I'm getting kind of old because one of my second graders, she's in 3rd grade now. Sarah Blackdog. She was in my class, and I just feel, I can't tell you that this means so much to me. And I know he's always, like I said, I'm not really that lost for words. But thank you all. And I always say that I couldn't have raised my family in a better, amazing, supportive community than Big Sky. And I want to say, during this COVID year, it was the most amazing thing how everyone came together. It just warms my heart so much. And I want to say thank you to everyone that was part of that. Thank you.
Yeah, she fell in love with the bar, and I came with it. You know, I came to Big Sky in the mid-70s, and the story that comes to mind for me is in '76, they were auctioning off Glacier and Hill condos for $8,000 and $9,000 a piece. And I worked for an auction company. The guy would give me cash every day after I worked, whether it was landscaping or moving furniture, whatever. We'd go to Bucks, and we did this all summer long. That's how far we've come. And I think back and go, wow. You know, I came here just to be around people like we all are. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I want to be part of this community. I want to be part of what was going to happen. Who the hell knew what was going to happen? Nobody could have dreamed back then this was going to happen. And our dreams are coming true, man. And God bless all of you for being part of it. Thank you so much.
It's me again, you guys. Thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause for all of our award winners tonight. I just want to say, as I was helping sign all of you all up for this dinner tonight, It was a fun mix of people who have been around in this community who have welcomed me when I first moved here, and a lot of people who are new to the community. People who started a business and said, you know, I heard I had to be at the chamber dinner, and they're here. So I just hope that this night has invigorated you for your new community and a place for housing your business. So thank you so much. Oh, you can do it, Chris, come on. I want to talk briefly about the other work that I do and the other things that the chamber does, opportunities for you guys to come back together again. So in September, we host our community building forum, which is a wonderful opportunity for our major developers and community builders, from Laura Seafang at Community Housing Trust to Matt Kidd at Lone Mountain Land Company, to invite us into understanding what they're doing this year. Brian Wheeler also presented last year, and we're very grateful for that. You can see him here, very tiny, or you can see him right there in real life. Another thing that we do biannually is the Eggs and Issues. This last year, we hosted one on community infrastructure investment, focusing on the Tiger Grant and also other pieces of investment. And then in November, we did our behavioral health, which was the kickoff to YCCF's Behavioral Health Coalition. Those are great opportunities for us to gather you all as a community to learn not what the chamber's doing, but what our community is doing. We're just happy to have the table for you all to sit at. Another thing that I think is fantastic was this last year, we all had to go virtual, but that didn't drop our numbers one bit. You guys still showed up to come to our events, even when it was Zoom and it was me spilling water and me being like, Anna, help, people aren't muted. So, but you guys still showed up. And I think that the theme is continuing. You guys are here and you keep showing up. One of the things that I'm most proud of the work that I get to do is the Leadership Big Sky group. We have several Leadership Big Sky alumni in this group and current cohort. And that is an 8-month program that we do, and it's threefold. It's networking to understand who else is in this class of people in Big Sky. It's leadership development, growing your skills so that as you move through the management levels, you have the skills to take that on. And it's also understanding the unique place that Big Sky is. We're unique, and that's okay. But the more people that we have who learn about it, the more advocates we have for helping others learn about it. The more that we can spend time informing other people about what we need as a community and how we can accomplish that. So that was kind of the theme that we're moving through when I decided to ask Chantel Schiefer of Leadership Montana to come speak to us tonight. Over this last year with this Leadership Big Sky group, I was so proud of the work that they did to continue showing up and continue having resiliency. When I asked them to, sorry, we can't meet, every speaker is quarantined right now. Or sorry, we're gonna have to stand like 3 months in the Wilson Ballroom 6 feet apart. We've all had so much strength inside of us that we just captured, and we were able to push through this last year that was difficult. And I just thought, what a great opportunity for us all to come together and to celebrate not only the community, but our ability to be strong and be creative. So that's why I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker for the night, Chantel.
Thank you. I'm going to set myself up here for a moment. While I do, let's have another round of applause for all of our award winners and the Chamber of Commerce tonight. What an incredible evening. For how many of you is this the first time you've been in a room of 100 people in the last 18 months? Okay, so a few of us. I had the pleasure of being in a room of 20,000 people on Saturday in New York, so this is awesome. So thank you. Yes, it was a concert. Two feathers. It's awesome. Thank you so much for letting me be here with you tonight. It's an incredible honor to celebrate the Big Sky community with you. And what we hope is this end of this global pandemic, right? This pandemic that has changed our society and communities in so many ways. When Caitlin first asked me to join you tonight to share my thoughts on life after COVID and lessons in leadership that we can take from this time, first I was of course very flattered to be in this room. And then I thought to myself, well, why me? What do I have to offer this group? Imposter syndrome hit me pretty hard. And before COVID, this would have been an invitation that I would have politely declined, making space for someone else to share with you thoughts on business tactics and strategies and bottom lines. My focus is on leadership, which is sometimes, can include some emotions, some touchy-feely stuff. I promised my husband I wouldn't use the word vulnerability tonight, so I'm not going to do that again. But I do want to share some of the things that I've learned over the course of this year about navigating challenge and how we can together navigate challenge going forward. For my unique vantage, I've been able to learn from some of Montana's most prominent leaders, providing me a real depth of knowledge that has served me well to steer my organization as well as my family. So let me tell you just a little bit about myself so you understand where I'm coming from. I'm a Montanan. I grew up in Kalispell and Whitefish, graduated college from Bozeman with a degree in political science. I left for several years to Kentucky until the call in the mountains of Montana was so loud that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I moved back to Helena and accepted a high-level position in government, working on policies to attract businesses to Montana. It wasn't long until the pull of Bozeman called me back, specifically due to my husband, Jack Schieffer, who had a long career here at Big Sky Resort. Together, we have a remarkable son, 9-year-old son, who's also named Dax. And some of you in this room know that he is a remarkable young man who has had a number of challenges. He is medically fragile, cognitively and physically disabled, and underwent a bone marrow transplant 4 years ago. And so many of you in this room supported us through that time. And my gratitude for you is ever-ending. The three of us now live in Helena, and professionally, I am the president and CEO of Leadership Montana. This is a statewide leadership development organization, much like Leadership Big Sky, where we pull people together to learn about each other, learn about Montana, and learn about leadership. Our mission is to build a better Montana through knowledge, collaboration, and civility. We do this through a number of programs, but our core program is an 8-month epic journey across Montana, where we take 40 business, community, and elected leaders all through the state. We visit communities every month for 3 days, learning about the challenges and opportunities, and at the same time, going through a really robust leadership development curriculum. The demand for our work is so high that this year, we're actually offering 2 cohorts of 42, which is doubling our impact and shows us that now more than ever, leadership matters. Upon graduation from our program, participants join an elite group of alumni who together work to address some of our state's most pressing issues. In our 17 years of existence, we've graduated more than 700 alumni, some in this room, some future alumni in this room as well. And it's been truly an honor to serve this organization. I'm also an active community volunteer, a writer, a leadership advisor, and I play outside and travel as much as I can. So my plate overflows on more days than it doesn't. And through my personal and professional roles, I've learned what it means to manage challenge with courage, empathy, and with hope. The thoughts I've collected for you tonight come from my own experiences with COVID, conversations with business, community, and elected leaders across our state, and published writings of my own during this pandemic. I'm also deeply influenced by Dr. Brene Brown. She's a significant thought leader and best-selling author of 5 books on leadership and business. In 2019, I was trained by Dr. Brown to facilitate a groundbreaking leadership development training called Dare to Lead. And we have provided this experience to more than 1,000 Montanans, some in this room. Katie Grice was part of Dare to Lead this fall. And it's been a really interesting year to dig into leadership in a pretty big way. So I want this to be an interactive conversation. I want to hear from you as well on what you believe we should take from COVID, what lessons we should take. As we say in Leadership Montana, the knowledge is in the room. Before we dig into those lessons, I want to share with you my sincere gratitude for the many ways that you lead in this community. Big Sky is so very clearly important to you. This community matters to me too. I often say that the most important events of my adult life have happened in the shadow of Lone Peak. In 2009, I walked into this room for my first Leadership Montana experience, and it changed my life. As a participant in that program, the trajectory of both my personal and professional life was altered forever. 4 years after graduating from the program, I was hired to lead this organization that has such a unique and lasting impact on our state. It is the most rewarding work that I have done throughout my career, which has spanned the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, and has included helping to elect every type of politician from city council to president of the United States. I've worked to bring new businesses to Montana, and I've worked to support families in need. Working with Leadership Montana will be the legacy that I look back on with the most fondness at the end of my career. Each year, we kick off this program in this room. We believe that setting matters, and this is the best place that we can possibly bring together a cohort of 40 strangers to spend a year together, learning openly together and getting to know each other and building relationships that last. I mentioned that my husband Dax spent 20 years working here at Big Sky Resort. He was also in this room. He and I reconnected after about 10 years since we graduated from college. We began dating. Yeah, right? And this fall, we will celebrate 10 years since we got married again in this room. So there's a trend here. We maintain a residence here. Our son skis with Eagle Mount. Thank you, Brian. And we were here when the first signs of the pandemic-related shutdowns began, that March 13th date. I'll never forget that eerie day in early March when little Dax's Eagle Mount lesson was canceled and we started to hear that lifts were closing early. I started to realize that this thing, this COVID-19 thing, that seems so far removed from our peaceful mountain existence was actually knocking on our door. This was again the community where we felt most safe, we felt most secure. So yeah, Big Sky matters to me too. I'm grateful to each of you for the role that you've played in navigating challenge after challenge and supporting our community and keeping it together. Thank you. Round of applause for all of you. So let's dig into the lessons. I'm going to invite you to just share around your table for a few minutes. What valuable lessons did you learn this past year? What do you want to take with you from this past year? I'm going to give you a few minutes to just share amongst each other. And then when we come back together, I want to hear some examples. What did you learn? So share amongst yourselves. All right, let's come back together. I got a good one over here. All right, we're gonna come back together. We're gonna share a little bit together. Let's come back together. Thank you. So I saw 2 tables toasting. I think we should do that together. Let's toast each other to making it, to getting shit done. All right, we got a great example right here. All right, what lesson would you like to take from this time?
I think the world appreciated skiing this year. They couldn't go to the movies, they couldn't go to restaurants, but where did they show up to ski? And I, for one, really love that.
All right, get outside, right? It's the only place that's safe to be outside. What else? What else do you want to take? I'm gonna do 3 examples. And I'm not stopping until we have 3 examples.
Well, I think for us, I think for everybody who's an outlaw, it was not giving up, and it was trying to find ways to stay relevant, and also I think for me personally having a growth and empathy with what my friends and other families were going through, and just put Eric on the spot. I'll never forget in March 2020. We had, right after this whole thing went down, Eric said, there's 2 kinds of people in the world. And what you're going to see is you're going to see some businesses put their heads in the sand, and you're going to see businesses try and find ways to thrive under pressure. And I remember Eric goes, I'm that type of guy who thrives under pressure and looks for opportunities. And so I think for us, it was just not giving up.
One more. Oh, there's 2 more, right?
Well, we all decided that working together as a team is more powerful than a whole bunch of individuals working alone to solve problems.
So we work better when we work together. So I've probably been here, except for a very small few of you, longer than most. I'm 33 years right here. I had my first kiss with my husband where we had cocktails many decades ago. But the point is, raise a glass and toast someone off your table. We're all these pillars of familiarity, but together we're the foundation of this community, and our experience, our loves, our failures, our seeing together, Brian, Barb, our golf, Kathy and Dave, the corral tournament, legend, our community, Matt, Tiger, Justin, Krista, everyone at this table, Scott, Kevin. I look around the room, and we've all been through so much, and it's so exciting to be able to link arms and take this community to the next level. We've been discovered. We've always been Big Sky Resort, and damn, we're doing it. So thank you all. We have a social and economic responsibility and I'm proud to be at this table and in this room with all of you. So cheers. Thank you for this opportunity. Cheers. Gratitude. Right. Well, everything that you talked about, I'm going to talk about. So I think my job here is done. All right. So I want to share 8 things with you that I've learned through this year. And many things we've already heard today. I'm going to reinforce some of the things we heard from those that have already been here on the stage. I hope that we take with us the ability to adapt, to be flexible, and to embrace change. I know that I have taken for granted just how stable our cultural climate has been and how quickly things can change. Like thinking back to those early March days and just how quickly everything changed. Like Eric didn't know, is this gonna happen? Are we gonna fold, right? That fear, how quickly things can change. For years, we have talked at Leadership Montana about using technology to deliver programming virtually across the state, or statewide organization, and it's a big state. I've resisted this notion primarily because that's not the way we've done things in the past. And now in COVID, that was the only connection that was available to us. The pandemic forced us to serve our community in different ways and to learn to do things with less in times of uncertainty. We had to move away from our heavy in-person event focus and shift down to virtual learning. Montana went into lockdown right around March 13th, March 14th, we heard. By March 18th, we had pivoted to create more than 20 online forums and lessons to help our constituents adapt to this strange early pandemic time. What I had resisted for so long, that virtual learning experience, ended up being the one thing that we needed the most. I will now think twice before I resist change, before I resist innovation, believing that that's not how we do it. How we've done it has always been the best. So let's take with us the ability to adapt, to be flexible, and to embrace change. I hope that we take with us a celebration of resiliency. We've heard a lot tonight about celebrating resiliency. I hope we still hear this a year from now. I've had countless conversations with organizational leaders this year, and one word kept cropping up for them: resilience. This definition rings true for me. Resilience is the ability to bounce back when we've been knocked off track. Who in this room got knocked off track in the last 18 months? How many of us have bounced back, right? All of us. Resilient leaders strive for excellence, not for perfection. There's no such thing as perfect. Excellence is our standard and our goal. Resilient leaders celebrate the excellent, not the perfect. Resilient leaders believe that failure is necessary for learning. When something doesn't go the way we've planned, we can always take the opportunity to consider what we've learned in the end. Resilient leaders celebrate the failure and the lessons. I've learned that collaboration is critical. None of us walk in this work alone. Resilient leaders know that asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. So let's take with us the ability to celebrate resiliency. I hope we take with us a recognition that everyone goes through experiences differently. I'm reminded of how unequal this pandemic has been. My personal experience and that of those around me has looked a lot different than many others. We run a leadership development organization, and at a time when our team was fortunate enough to transition to fully remote work, other organizations weren't as lucky. They closed, they furloughed staff, they paused operations. We heard from Montanans who relied on our online programs to help them manage the stress of this uncertain time and who were combating depression and loneliness. We heard from families of Montanans who just didn't make it. I'm reminded to be aware that when making decisions, to not solely rely on my experience, but to see what's around me, to look deeper, and to see what isn't obvious from my perspective. So let's continue to recognize that everyone responds differently to stressful situations. No one navigates challenge the right way. What's right for me might be right for you, and it might not. We have to be kind. I hope we continue to recognize that everyone has a stress limit. While this is not a new leadership lesson for me during COVID, this was something that was definitely reinforced in a big way. How important it is for us to recognize when our teams, when those in our community are hitting their stress limits, and we can see those early signs of burnout. COVID has created an additional layer to everyone's day, whether it's having to be more present for children who are learning remotely or working at home with multiple people all day, every day, and still trying to be productive. We have to be understanding, empathetic, and genuinely concerned about the people and their well-being, the people who we take care of every day. And now that school is over for the summer, work looks different for many of us, and our communities are opening back up. If we continue to be mindful of the needs of those around us, our society will be better for it. I hope we take with us an understanding that everyone plays an important role. I love Brad's example of the valet parkers. This is such a clear example of when we take care of everyone on our team, they take care of us too. We're all connected. Even the largest companies have realized in 2020 that without their essential workers, they can't function. People whom the business world might have typically regarded as replaceable or lower tier are now considered essential to our businesses, which should give us cause to reconsider the level of respect and care we provide to everyone on our teams, from the bottom to the top. I hope we take with us an understanding that leaders can help mitigate employee stress. Eric's example of the gratitude conversation in every staff meeting is a perfect illustration of this. I've learned that it's our responsibility as leaders to help our employees manage the incredible amount of stress that they're under. And that's not just about work, although that is certainly the purview that we can see from. It's also about finding ways to help our teams mitigate the stress of the pandemic, the tense political environment we've experienced and continue to experience, and increasing racial and socioeconomic tensions. It's not only the right thing to do for our people, but it's also sound business practice. We can't just expect that our employees leave their stress at the door. We need to provide constructive pathways to discuss these challenging issues, and we need to implement policies that help our employees find balance. I've learned from Brené Brown that if we do not invest a reasonable amount of time paying attention to and listening to the fears and the feelings of our people, we will spend an unreasonable amount of time managing ineffective and unproductive behavior. When we do not allow ourselves or others to feel, those feelings come out in negative ways, creating toxic and unproductive cultures. This doesn't mean that we spend all of our time complaining about our challenges and the weight of the world. Rather, it means allowing some time for people to express their frustrations, their fears, their concerns, their gratitude, and offering empathy and compassion in return. Doing so will help them move far more quickly through challenge than if we were to just simply ignore it. If we want people to be productive and move past the crisis into recalibrating normal, we need to make it okay to attend to their feelings. Today, more than ever, it's not possible to lead effectively without dealing with feelings, without recognizing the whole person. I hope we remember that strong relationships can truly make our businesses. Relationships matter. How we create and nurture those relationships is up to us. I recently facilitated a leadership workshop for Montana state legislators with the hope of providing them tools on working better together. You can imagine how hard that was been. Yeah, right? In just 2 days, we watched them tear down barriers that they built over 4 months in the legislative session. How? By building relationships with each other, by asking questions, by getting curious with each other about who they are and how they lead. We talked about their values. We talked about their families. We talked about why they love Montana. We didn't talk about their voting records or their political positions. We explored who they were as people. When? Is that a question? Sorry. We talked about things that matter. We talked about what truly matters to who they are as people. When we focus on building those relationships, we can help see each other's humanity. And when we see our humanity, we treat each other better. We work better together. We heard that from your lessons. We work better together. We're more productive for the common good. As we navigate out of COVID, I'm asking that all of us spend time nurturing those relationships. Progress reports and status updates can wait. Let's find out how our people are doing. I hope we always remember that leaders must listen to everyone in order to innovate. I've learned that the world needs leaders to focus on listening as much, if not more, than speaking. A leader who doesn't listen to the people in their charge will soon have no one to lead. They will move on to a place where they feel heard, where they feel appreciated. The importance of listening is so prevalent in Leadership Montana that it's one of the first, that it is the first word in our tagline. Listen, learn, lead. We must listen before we can learn, and we must learn before we can lead. Through COVID, I've learned how to slow down and take more time to truly listen to those in my charge. This was really hard for me. I tend to want to charge through, give direction, and get shit done. But when we take the time to listen to those around us, their ideas, their opinions, our work is better. It's more collaborative, and we're more likely to lead to success. I hope we take with us the ability to believe that leaders must lead with courage. This is the big one for me. This is where we're going to spend the rest of this time. Courage. We need brave leaders right now more than ever. Right now, we need leaders who are willing to show up as their true selves and willing to be who they are, speak openly without fear of judgment. This takes extraordinary courage. And courage is not just about being fearless. It's about being afraid of something and doing it anyway. It's about leaning into the discomfort that we might be feeling rather than armoring up and building walls around us. Here are some examples of armor that I've seen show up from leaders through COVID. Needing to be the expert, needing to have all the answers all the time. And let's face it, this year has shown us that no one knows all the answers all the time. Fear of failure, because the risks seem so big, which leads us to paralysis. We get stuck, and an inability to be bold and creative. And we're not talking about fear, even though we all have it. We've all struggled, at least even a little bit this last year. As a leader, recognizing when we're putting our armor on allows us to make a conscious decision to put it down. Armor is the biggest barrier to courage. We have to keep those walls down. Instead, we need to admit when we don't have the answers. We need to take risks. We need to ask for help. We need to feel the emotions. We need to share them. Humanity is demanding that real, authentic leaders show up with our flaws and all. Courageous leaders know that experiencing something new requires courage. Doing something new for the very first time is hard. It's really hard. It's the epitome of courage. Brene Brown calls this the FFT, an effing first time. Think of all the firsts that we've gone through this year. The first global pandemic. This was my first global pandemic. It's the first time my kid has been homeschooled every day. The first time I've had to work remotely, completely full-time, while teaching my child to homeschool all day. These first times have pushed us out of our comfort zones. And when we embrace that discomfort, we have opportunities to grow and to learn. Those first-time experiences can lead to success, but we have to be open to failing along the way. Here are 3 lessons to help us get through those FFTs without that armoring up process, without building those walls. First, we have to normalize it. Call it what it is. Or as I like to say, name it to tame it. This is new. This last year, we've all experienced so many new things, and it's okay to feel anxious, uncertain, or afraid. First times are like that. We have to put things into perspective, understanding that this feeling is not permanent. Think back to those early March days, those scary times. And we can look back on that now and recognize that that wasn't permanent. We have to be able to take that perspective into the future. What we face is not permanent. We have to reality check our expectations. Often our expectations about how quickly we can move through something are completely unrealistic. We need to be patient with ourselves, and we need to be patient with those around us. Courageous leaders know how to balance optimism and realism. If we want to successfully move people from a crisis mindset to one that is more longer term, we need to give them both the unpolished hard facts. We need to talk about revenue projections. We need to talk about wages. We need to talk about jobs. But we also need to mix it with some hope and faith. Why we know we will prevail. Why we know we're going to make it through this. We have to be honest and hopeful. This concept is based on the Stockdale paradox, as illustrated by Jim Collins in Good to Great. James Stockdale was a US naval admiral who survived 8 years as a POW in Vietnam. When asked who didn't make it out alive, his answer was the optimists, who falsely believed that they would get out quickly. But Stockdale found a way to stay alive by embracing both the harshness of his reality and a balance of healthy optimism. The way he explained it was this: you must never confuse the faith that you will prevail in the end with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. We have to balance faith and facts. Courageous leaders create psychologically safe workplaces. If people feel safe expressing their feelings, fears, anxiety, exhaustion, then we can support them with empathy and compassion. Suppressing, denying, ignoring those feels doesn't work. They just come out in different ways, and most likely negative ways. While this holds true at any time, it's even more important in heightened times of stress and anxiety. Creating a culture of safety in the workplace where people feel safe sharing their thoughts, their opinions, their emotions can seem daunting. But there's one simple thing that we can do right now with our teams that can move us in the right direction, and that's using ground rules. When we are exhausted, when we're stressed or anxious, we are not at our best. In fact, we tend to be at our worst selves when we are afraid. Ground rules help remind everyone what behavior is appropriate and what behavior is inappropriate. And this helps us be more thoughtful and intentional about the behaviors that we show up with, and more conscious about how we show up. Now is the perfect time to create or revisit those ground rules and how we work together. And we can role model them as leaders and hold people accountable to them. And courageous leaders know that empathy is the antidote to pretty much everything. Empathy is the #1 tool leaders need to draw to get themselves, their teams, their families from crisis to a recalibrated normal. When people are expressing those emotions and we have made it safe for them to do so, our response should be empathy. In other words, we need to make the person feel heard by connecting to the underlying emotion that they are sharing. There are 4 steps in demonstrating empathy. The first is to take the other person's perspective. This requires us to listen to and honor their story as their truth, even if it doesn't fit with our own experience or our own situations. We have to withhold judgment. We cannot be empathetic and judgmental at the same time. I've tried, it just does not work. We have to recognize their feelings and their emotions and pick up on their feelings based on their words, what they're not saying, their body language, their tone and demeanor. We have to be able to convey our understanding of those feelings. This is where people feel heard, saying things like, man, that's really tough. It sounds like you're really struggling with this, and I can hear your frustration. These are great examples of the language of empathy. Magic happens when people feel heard. It dissipates emotions, even when there are no solutions. You may not have been able to solve all the challenges of remote work and homeschooling and the fear of being sick, but you can most certainly offer empathy. As leaders, we make a choice every day, in every moment. We can either be daring leaders or we can be armored leaders. Too many of us wake up every morning and put on our armor. And this comes at a tremendous cost to us, our teams, and to our organizations. And this could not be truer today. In closing, I think of the COVID era as a light shining through cracks in the foundation. Perhaps we didn't know that those cracks existed until we saw the light shining through. Or perhaps we chose to ignore the cracks because they weren't obvious to us. Now we've seen the light shining through the cracks. We know where the cracks are. We can't ignore them anymore. I believe to my core that when we work together as business, community, and elected leaders to repair those cracks, to fill them with compassion and empathy and courage, this will make a stronger foundation. This is the foundation that we need to enter into this recalibrated normal with brave hearts, open minds, and endless possibilities for building better teams, building better communities, building a better Big Sky, building a better Montana. So let's be of service and get shit done. Thank you.
My mom will be so proud to hear that I've set a new trend tonight. All right, well, thank you. Our evening is over, and I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up. Thank you to the nominees and the award winners tonight. So congratulations. Let's just do another round of applause. Do me a favor to keep our chamber dues low. Can you please take your name tag off and leave them at the table? We will be recycling. It's the good thing to do. And then just as a reminder, June 21st next year is this next evening. We'll do this again next year. I think we'll be 2 or 3 times bigger than what we were tonight because this was COVID. But I will make sure, I've been requested that we have tattoo artists at next year's meeting so we can all get tattoos. I think we're gonna need to start selling them. I mean, I don't know. So, all right. And then finally, you know, an evening like this is not easy to pull off. And I just want to take a second to thank Caitlin and Anna for all their work. And thank you. Please come and visit us at the chamber anytime. Drive safe and have a great evening. Appreciate you coming. Anna would like you to take the flowers in the centerpiece if you like as well.